And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Factorio in the Pyanodons mod. This is the beginning of the 7th day of streaming the game. Since the last one, I have added one additional mod, which is the inserter throughput mod, just so we can see at a sort of a glance what the throughput on the inserters is. In theory, I only have one, so I could have just memorized it, and to a certain degree, that's kind of what I've been doing until this point. But that way we can have a little bit better of an understanding of how much throughput I actually have on the inserters going forward. If you're watching on YouTube, we are going to have probably a jump cut in a moment to completing the first project. Right now, my plan at the beginning of this stream here is I'm going to make a process to make reinforced concrete. Technically, I have a little bit of one for concrete. We're going to do a little bit of reinforced concrete just so we can get the new type of furnace going, the gas furnace. I think on Reddit I wrote this as liquid furnace. It might have confused someone who was responding to it. But we're going to do the gas furnace. It's about 4 times faster than the stone furnace and the advanced furnaces. And I'm going to combine that with the kerogen to shale oil process to save on some fuel here. So I can actually go and do very, very quickly the math here and show what sort of difference that's going to make. Let's put this over to shale oil. Here's the shale oil. And then obviously we can then make the shale oil by that recipe, which of course uses steam. It doesn't really matter where we're getting the steam from, just that we're getting the steam. So, for 13 and a half kerogen, we can make about a half a belt of coal. I've got 2 belts of kerogen I actually need to go through, so we should be able to make enough to make a whole belt of iron plate, which is kind of the goal there. That's the plan. So if you're watching on YouTube, we'll have a jump cut. I'll be back when I have the refined concrete ready to start making gas furnaces. And as you can see here, I'm probably only going to need like 22, 24 gas furnaces. And I suppose future editor me, if he wants to, I might not put this in. But if you're watching this on YouTube at this point, and you're watching it on the highlight stream, I did decide to put in. I've done a little bit of spaghetti to sort of add to our existing concrete maker the ability to make refined concrete. So we're making refined concrete now. Not particularly fast, but we're making refined concrete. I'll probably have another jump cut back when we're got the next bit of the base built. I think next time it's going to be sending some more iron. That'll actually get a little bit complicated, so it'll be a bit of a jump here. At least a bit of a longer jump than this was. Well, if editor me has probably done YouTube jump cut for the highlights. We're back in highlight time for YouTube, so we're doing the build review of the new improved iron setup. So we've got the iron mine here. It's actually a little small for requirements. It should really be 5 belts. It's like it's 1/2 of a mining drill short of correct. It's close enough. That 5 belts comes in here, and we're crushing them in the jar crushers to make the refined, or the process ore, because that's better to smelt, and making as a byproduct a belt of stone. We take that refined processed ore into these new fancy gas furnaces, which are, as you can see there, 4 times as fast as old stone furnaces. And because they're gas instead of burning solid fuel, I don't have to deal with ash. They're about the same energy efficiency as the old advanced foundries, the electric furnaces. So this isn't really saving me power, but this is saving me the effort of having to drive electrical power out here. And this is fairly easy to make. I'm basically taking kerogen and turning it into shale oil to power this. Which I suppose, if you're watching on YouTube, we're going to have a short jump cut, and that's going to what we're reviewing next. Okay, I think we're back from the jump cut on YouTube for the highlights. So over here, we're doing shale oil. So that's taking kerogen, so I'm sort of taking kerogen out from over here. Trying to unload the old stuff first. We're taking kerogen plus steam becomes shale oil. Shale oil eventually we're going to use for other applications besides powering those furnaces over there, and for that application it needs to be shale oil. So I've got a double tank here with 2 overflow valves. One is so that we can save and prioritize shale oil to shale oil only applications. The second one is for things where if I'm legitimately constantly running out, I can replace it with something else. So for example, right now we're piping it off to be burnt in the furnaces, and then have an overflow into a sinkhole just so I don't have to run out. I suppose this is a good place for editor me to do the edit jump cut in for highlights. If you're watching this on YouTube highlights, but we've been doing a lot of work since the last one. It was a big jump. I was noticing as this was running that we were struggling, not necessarily with power, but mostly with steam. So I've gone ahead and built a new coal deposit mine, or coal mine area. Obviously not using all of it because I just don't have enough consumption on belt standpoint to use it. Threw a balancer into 8 boiler stacks that then goes through another balancer into ash processing. This way I can produce more steam, and of course now that I've done that I have more steam than I need, which is a good thing. But that's basically what we've been doing for the last 2 to 3 hours, is making more steam. But now the shale oil is coming in reliably, and I think the only thing, well, I've got lots of things to do. But you can see this is all backed up. I need to sort out the stone. Basically need to sort out the stone consumption so that this runs better. Because as you see, it's not running. Which kind of means I'm actually wasting the shale oil right now because I've got a drain on it so the stone production works properly. But yeah, so that's the build highlight for this part. If you're watching on YouTube, there probably won't be another highlight in this highlight video from this day. The next highlight will probably be from the next day, because I'm mostly going to do some calculations on the next 2 things I'm thinking of building, and I don't show the calculations in the highlight video. So I hope you've been enjoying today's highlights. You'll presumably have a video that continues on into tomorrow's highlights if you're watching on YouTube. And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Factorio. This little bit's going to end up in the highlight video just to remind people that we've jumped from day 7 to day 8. So this is the beginning of the 8th stream day. A couple of the earlier stream days actually had multiple parts. The plan today is, well, the end of the last one we did some calculations for simple circuit boards. So updated the ratio here. So we're basically going to build this out and build this out. That's what we're going to work on for today. So, if you're watching on YouTube the highlights, catch you in the next highlight when we'll have one of those done. Okay, so if future editor me has done a good job of doing the jump cut here for the highlight stream, we're going to do a bit of a highlight stream component here. As I planned at the beginning, well, the end of last stream, beginning of this stream, we were going to work on new automation science. So this is now the upscaled recipe that makes a whole 1 automation science per second. So in practice, it's probably not actually making. You can see right now it's not going anywhere. So even if it was running, it wouldn't go anywhere. Oh, forgot about bringing in the xenofloor. That'll be easy to do. In fact, the xenofloor over there. We'll do that in a bit. This will bring in a whole automation science in a second. The main reason, as you might have noticed, the fact that I didn't really care about not having the xenoflora is this is also making me planter boxes. So the unused planter boxes, I want to ship back to the bus to make, because it's an ingredient in making botanical nurseries. So So all the surplus ones are going to go on the bus and be turned into nurseries. It's also used in a couple of the other greenhouse-style buildings as well. Not sure if I've got any of them right now to show you. There's a couple other things that the Hunter Box is doing. But yeah, this is otherwise balanced out thing that in theory runs 5 times as fast as the old one. And yeah, the main thing it's missing is a reliable... Well, it's missing the xenoflora and a reliable supply of iron. I need to put a better consumption drain on the stone so that the iron here that we're using is more reliably being pulled. This is the other problem I'm having. I'm having something else not working with the base here, that everything's hooked up, it's just not running. No saplings. I got no saplings because you got no... You... Okay, so it's just some startup jitters is what it looks like. I'm relying on this grabbing enough wood to sustain tree production to feed itself. But yeah, this is the build. If I kind of zoom out, you can see all of it at once. The big thing I'm missing is apparently I forgot to go grab the xenoflora. We'll plumb that over here shortly. I think I'm still handcrafting the xenoflora collector. Is that on the to-do list when I did it? Yeah, I think that was on the something I need to do. But yeah, that's not on my to-do list. But this is done, so we're gonna go have another jump cut if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on Twitch, feel free to hear out. Okay, so if editor me in the future has handled the editing correctly here, I've gone ahead and to get just a little bit more demand for stone, so that you can see that the iron here that previously was coming from a mixed processing place where we're getting both stone and iron together would flow. I've gone ahead and added concrete. So the concrete needs various different things. We've got all the guys up there. We need limestone plus coke. This is probably not enough coke, but I'll sort that at some point. That becomes lime, that goes into the concrete. Concrete also then takes in stone in the form of gravel and sand. Sand is made out of gravel, so basically we're taking in stone, breaking it down into gravel and sand, feeding that into all these. And actually from a assembling machine standpoint, the assembling machines are far too fast. We're limited by capacity to get stuff in and out of them, not the number of machines here, but and then that makes concrete, and the concrete goes back to base. And I'm just realizing I could probably do a little bit of lane balancing here, which will get us a little better through, but there we go. But yeah, that's the concrete setup. So if you're watching on the YouTube highlights, that's the highlight here. We'll jump to the next thing after probably a jump cut. But yeah, so future editor me has succeeded at doing the editing right. If you're watching on the YouTube highlights, this is a highlight for the build for our bus moondrop greenhouse. So if I give this enough time, this will make 20 greenhouses. I'm going to need those greenhouses for our simple circuit boards here. Did I do the process? No, I've got these. I need it for the 32 methane. Go look at the old one. Do I still even hold it up here? That's a good question. Don't think so. But yeah, we'll need that for methane. Methane is made out of moondrops, so we'll need that for making the greenhouse and moondrops. So we're going to be wanting that come the next big build, and that's a step in the right direction. It's also another item on my to-do list that I could check off. So goodbye, bus moondrop greenhouse. It has been made. The next big build I think we're going to do as soon as I get these next 3 done on the to-do list. Bus sap extractor, bus the pulper for wood pulp. I think that's what I'm thinking of. I put that in, yeah. The pulp mill. and then the chip shooter itself on the bus. Actually, the chip shooter might be one I hold off, just because the chip shooter requires the printed circuit board, so to properly feed that on the bus, I need to already make everything else for the simple circuit boards. But yeah, gonna get at least the next 2 done, maybe the next 3 done, and then we will make simple circuit boards in a more cohesive and sustainable manner, I'm gonna say. And then after simple circuit boards, we're into scaling up SciPack 1, so I don't have to manually feed it anymore. And that is itself going to probably be a little bit of a task in and of itself. But yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, once again, I think this is going to be the last of the builds for this stream day, so this will be the last highlight of stream day 8. Based on how many highlights it is, I think we're going to end up having it be a 3-day highlight recording after it's all edited down. So there probably won't be an outro on here. So just letting you know, this is probably the end of day 8. Next highlight will probably be from day 9. Hello and welcome back. This is the start of stream day 9. You're watching this in the highlights, because I think this is going to actually be the 3rd big section of the highlights, or the next highlight video. And this will probably be a short section, because I'll do the jump skip if you're watching this on YouTube, towards having some of the projects here done. If you're watching on Twitch, you sadly have to watch the process here of me getting all this stuff together. But yeah, we're going to add a few more things to the bus, and that's about it. So we'll be back in a moment if you're watching on YouTube. Okay, so future editor me has done the editing right. We're doing a quick bit of build review here. I've added 2 more builds to the bus. I've added sap extractors and pulp mills, both of which we're going to need for the next major build out. And we're going to need a lot of sap extractors. So we've got that actually set out to do like 100 of those. Even that's not going to be enough. That's a big start. And then for the pulp mills, we need fewer of those. I think we need like 20. Reminds me I should crank it down, because I think I only need 20. As I come in here to double check to make sure I'm cranking down appropriately. I think I don't even need necessarily 20. 14. Yeah, 2 stacks will be fine. But yeah, this is it working. In theory, at some point we'll get logs on the bus, in which case I won't have to pull from my hand-fed chest here, but this should otherwise work. So if you're watching in the highlights, we'll be back with the next big build out. I'm going to go check to see if I've got the science to actually get geothermal to come to completion here. First geothermal plant made. So if editor me edits this, hello YouTube, from the highlight stream. Handcrafted the first geothermal plant. We got a second one in the queue. We're going to set up some geothermal wells. I'll pop you back in when they're done. There we go. I don't mind losing a little bit of pressurized water. There we go. Let there be geothermal power. So, future editor me for the highlight stream does the job right. Here's the geothermal plant actually working. So we got offshore pump providing water to the pressure pump, which is then doing pressurized water into the geothermal plant, which makes the hot geothermal water, then gets fed into the regenerative heat exchanger to make steam, provide steam to the boiler, the steam boiler, or the steam engines here, to provide better power. This is twice as efficient in theory as the older steam engines, just because we got twice the temperature on the steam. Yeah, if you're watching this on the highlights, we're gonna do this one more time. I got another one over here to go tap. So I'll have a jump cut to that one being assembled, I think. Forgot to put the recipe in. That would do it. Okay, and with that, highlighter, or editor me, so it's highlighter me too, but editor me in the future should hopefully have clipped this bit out. We've got the second geothermal plant running. I had to go run the power plant, or run the power cable out back to base to get the initial power to get the system going. And then one was wondering why it wasn't running, and I forgot to put the recipe in the regenerative heat exchanger. So there we go. Geothermal water, making steam, making power. I'm heavily underutilizing the power right now because the base isn't running very hard, but I now have the power to run the base when the base runs harder. That. We're gonna have a jump cut. We're gonna back to the next big build. If you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, I'm gonna take the long trip. But yeah, that's roughly where we're gonna go and put the part again. So if future editor me for the highlight stream does an edit right here at the end of the video, well, this is the end of day 10. The build isn't quite complete, so you'll have a proper highlight from the next video. But we're getting closer to the end of simple circuits here. So if you're watching the highlight stream or highlights video on YouTube, that's what you'll see. Hello and welcome back. Short highlight here if you're watching this on the YouTube highlights. This is the beginning of day 10. I think at the end of day 9, I accidentally say it was the end of day 10. It, in fact, was the end of day 9. This is the beginning of day 10, and yeah, we're going to finish hooking this thing up, is the plan. So we got copper, nickel, creosote needs to come in, molten glass needs to come in, a fuel oil needs to come in, lead needs to come in, etc. There's a couple things to bring in. That's what we're going to be working on here. So there's going to be a jump cut, and then hopefully that'll be done. So see you all in a moment if you're watching YouTube. There we go. So I suppose if editor me does a very good job of editing. I now, in theory, have ship shooters that are not running by hand fed anymore. This ship shooter assembly is, in theory, being supplied directly from the mines. Where to start with the build over here for this portion? Here we've got the solder. Solder's got lead coming in from the lead mine. The lead mine isn't done, which is why you haven't seen a build review for that. It's running, but it's partial. And then besides that, that takes in some of the tin, which comes from the tin mine. When I'm done with the build review here for the chip shooters, I'll actually go do a review of that tin mine. The tin mine isn't enough to keep this running at full speed, so this thing isn't going to run at full speed, to be fair. It's much like the bus, where the bus is like a belief that it will one day run at full speed. But yeah, there's not enough tin in that tin mine. But for the moment, as you can see, because the lead hasn't been flowing and other stuff hasn't been flowing, it's enough for the short term. It is actually running, although the lead still hasn't arrived from the lead mine. I actually started it up with a little bit of lead from the inventory, but that is actually connected to the lead mine. So that's the solder. We're going counterclockwise. We've got high power resistors here, taking tin, glass, and coke. Tin, once again, coming from the tin mine. Coke coming from our coke line, coming from petrochem stuff. And then we're making glass on site from over here. This is running off of shale oil, and I don't actually have enough shale oil. I'll need to fuss with that a bit, I think, in the future. But for the moment, it's made enough glass, that's not a problem. Next up is ceramics, which is ceramic and tin plate. Again, tin. And we're getting ceramics in from the old ceramic setup that we have right feeding the main bus. Got air core conductors, again, ceramics. And then over here we've got the copper coming in to turn into the copper cable to make those. Then we got vacuum tubes being fed with copper and iron and glass as well. And graphite. We're making graphite from the coke right here. Same coke line coming over from petrochem. And then we have the printed circuit boards over here. Printed circuit boards are using Formica, copper, and vacuum. Vacuum is over here. We're doing the vacuum for all the things that need vacuum. The Formica is being processed here. Right now, the formaldehyde is actually the old formaldehyde setup. I will be wanting to build 2 more of those to get it up to speed to properly fulfill this, which is why it's not running at full speed, but we do have Formica, and I'll probably do a short build review when I do the tripling of that when we get to that bit. Got tar coming up from petrochem. We're using that to treat the wood here. We've got cellulose here using limestone and wood. Limestone from over there. One of the processes uses saline water. We got stone coming in, added to water to make saline water. That goes... that goes into zinc batteries. So zinc batteries, that's something I didn't cover earlier. Copper and zinc come in. Zinc, again, coming up from a partial mine. So the mine isn't running fast enough to actually run this at full speed, but it isn't running at full speed, so that's fine for the moment. It doesn't need to be hand-fed anymore. There's a big improvement over what it was before. And then we've got fiber and lumber. The lumber is coming. Oh, and you can see lots of sap. The sap isn't quite done. I haven't put all the sap trees in. We've got wood coming from over here, which is helping to use ash, and the moss farms that are feeding this are helping it to use stone. And the moss farms over here that are now all running. And we got some soil making muddy water to get these running. You do? So this setup's running. If anything, we were actually backed up on wood, which is why it's not running. But yeah, that's kind of the state of the build. That was the big thing we've been working on. I arguably for the last 4 days was working up to that. And it's not running at full speed, but it's running close enough to full, or it's running, which means the old one can finally be disassembled, and I can use some of the spare parts from the old one, I suppose, to get it running a little bit better. I can, for example, go harvest the sapling trees to build out the remaining saplings. But yeah, this is, unlike the old one, which was one of everything to make it run. This is assuming I get the metal fed in at an appropriate rate, which isn't the case. We don't have enough lead coming in, I don't have enough zinc coming in, I don't have enough tin coming in. Tin and zinc look like they're enough just because the lead... Actually, the lead I think is probably closer to the right amount than the tin and the zinc. The green and the purple here. So as a side effect, as this catches up the rest, we're probably going to fall behind. But yeah, in the moment you can see we're making simple circuit boards. We're not limited by a correct assembly machine. We're now down to the point where it's actually the feed. Am I feeding enough into the setup to keep it running at full speed? And the answer there, I believe, is no. I believe we're not. I'm pretty sure I'm short on lead, short on tin and zinc. Short on formaldehyde. The formaldehyde's going to get tripled. The formaldehyde's probably one of the easier things to get tripled. The saplings will get sorted. But yeah, that's the state of the build review. So Editor Me has done a good job. Hopefully you enjoyed that bit of build review. We're going to do a jump cut. I'm going to go look at the tin setup. The tin setup. I'll give you a bit of spoilers here for the next highlight. It's not big enough. We've maxed that mine out. That's the whole mine when we get down there, but it's not big enough. We're going to have to make it bigger. But we're going to have a jump cut, and we're going to go down to that build review portion. Okay, so if Editor Me is doing a good job, we've come back for the jump cut. This is the tin mine, so you can see I've utilized the tin mine to the maximum efficiency, and up top here we have the mine itself, which for the moment is backed up, but this is because this is actually the first of the 3 fluid mining drill areas that I fixed. So that it runs, it doesn't have to be hand-fed anymore. This is not going to be enough, although I think this is like half of enough. We need 2.3, and I believe this is outputting 1. About 1. So it's about half of what we need. So as the simple circuit board process properly spins up, this should be running constantly. But that's a good step. And yeah, this is the first fluid drill setup that is fully assembled. You can see the aluminum one over there that hasn't been fully assembled. Zinc hasn't been fully assembled. Lead hasn't been fully assembled. Zinc and lead are belted to where they're going. They're blueprinted out. I think they're just fluid mining drills short. We're waiting for the bus to build those. But yeah, so this is where this highlight's going to stop. I'm going to get to building some other things. I actually might do some disassembly at this point rather than building, because I think it is time to finally bring a lot of the old base officially offline. So the next highlight will probably be me adding things to the bus, rather than... Oh, it'll either be me adding things to the bus, or it'll be more fluid mining drills if I get some more assembly of some more of those mines complete. So, if you're watching in the YouTube highlight, catch you in the next highlight. Yeah, I suppose it is, once again, time to bring back, assuming Editor Mead has done his job, YouTube for highlights. So, the big highlight here is that we've tripled Moondrop generation. And done a little bit of plumbing to give it a little bit of buffer. So, by doubling Moondrop generation, I think I've gone ahead and successfully doubled, or, tripled Moondrop production. Tripled the formaldehyde production. So I should actually have enough now for all the simple circuit boards. We haven't fixed the other problems with the simple circuit boards. There's still not enough of the other metals that are feeding into it, but we are a step in the right direction. So with that, probably another jump break until I've got more of the fluid mining drills sorted. Yeah, build review time. Well, if Editor Me has done his job, it's time to do a little bit of build review. This time, we're back adding things to the bus. It's time to check off some things on our to-do list. So first up, we've gone ahead and added seaweed crop facility to the bus. I need to plumb it in. I forgot to plumb it in, but we'll go plumb it in a moment with water. And we need to put tin on the bus. I've put the position on the bus for it. But we need to actually get tin added to the bus. But then we'll have this produced, so I'm going to check that off the to-do list. We've added Biofactory to the bus. Same sort of logic as the previous one. We got two things that need to be added to the bus for it actually to work, but it's added to the bus. So I'm checking off the to-do list. Third thing, Gene Factory. It uses the previous one as an input, uses the 30 kiloliter tanks to the right as an input, and then in addition to what the previous one needs, it also has a new thing it needs added to the bus. But again, this is assembled, it just needs those things added to the bus, and we've made those things, we just haven't attached them to the bus yet, so we're going to check it off. In addition, if we come up here, you'll see that the simple circuit boards are now on the bus. We, in theory, have put them into some construction, so new automation and simple circuits at this point has been done, so we're going to check that off the to-do list. We made concrete and reinforced concrete before, but these aren't... actually, I'd argue that we've definitely done the first portion. I haven't actually done the second portion, so I'm not going to check this off. I'm going to check fluid drills off when we have all the fluid drill mines actually done being built. Because until then, they should be checked every once in a while in case I need stuff from them. That's why I got them on the checklist. And yeah, we're going to continue to work through the checklist here. I'm going to go check up on the fluid drills, add a few more drills to the setup while we wait for the bus to catch up, and then remove belts, because the bus is big and long, and I actually go through a lot of belts at this point trying to get items onto the bus to the end of the bus where they get put into a thing. Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, this is probably where we're going to put the end of the highlight. We'll catch you in the next highlight. But that is, I suppose this is going to be another build review time. We now have built out and properly put together this lead mine. Again, I don't necessarily know if this lead mine is large enough to meet the simple circuit maker. There's only 29 miners. And the simple circuit maker needs 2... Actually, if this is getting enough assembling, this should be just about the right size to keep the simple circuit maker happy and running at full speed. And if you're watching this in the build review, you'll notice that we're a little low on acetylene. That's what I'm going to go follow up with. I think without changing anything, I just toss another gasifier on it, and we can double the acetylene. That probably isn't enough to fix the problem. seeing as the recipe here is saying I need something like 14, but steps in the right direction. So we'll be back. Okay, and welcome back, YouTube highlights. Between the last highlight and this highlight, we had a little bit of an oops with running out of recording space. So I had to pause the game to do a bunch of stuff, but we're at the point where we got a couple of items to check off the checklist. So, creature chamber. We've got assembled here. The bus is assembled for this. Technically, right now, I've got a chest at the front start of the bus supplying plastic and duraluminum and titanium and lead. So this is not super sustainable, but the bus is assembled for that. Same thing with the reproductive chamber. So 2 more I can take off the bus. Just gotta get those more permanently hooked up. We got temporary solutions for right now. Creature chamber, reproductive complex. And that's, I think, where we're gonna put the complete that highlight. We'll probably be back in the next one, probably with a couple microcosm, and maybe the next 2 on here. I don't think I'm gonna get far enough through to actually start building out the Varrock expanded setup, but probably get there next stream. But yeah, if you're watching YouTube highlights, there'll probably be another highlight later in this video. Catch you all in a moment. That fixed it, yeah. Rated my 1000th Psypack 1. Interesting. That was with a vaguely hand-fed setup. So if you're watching this on YouTube, a highlighter or editor me has hopefully come back and put this in the highlights. Wasn't expecting to have hit 1000 Psypack there, seeing as the setup is still mostly hand-fed. Well, actually, I suppose at this point we're down to just hand-feeding the refined coal into the setup. But yeah, 1000 Psypack 1. Okay. If editor me has successfully edited the video correctly, once more we're in the highlights, and probably the last highlight for this highlight video. At this point, I think the highlight video is actually going to span 4 different days, so it's probably time it gets combined into one highlight video and actually posted. I think we should be over 30 minutes at this point. My estimates from the other videos is correct. So, previous one, we just went over the reproductive complex over there. Since then, we've added the microcosm mine and the incubator, both of which are a little bit more reliably running than some of the earlier stuff. Although we still got the odd resource that we're struggling with. Like, yeah, we're making small parts. We're not, given how long the bus is, we're not really making enough. And then titanium has been supplied to the bus via dropping it in a chest at the beginning. I have 2 different mines how to deal with titanium and a couple other resources. The best solution until I get caravans is to just run it on a giant belt across the entire map. I may end up just procrastinating until we get to caravans and just having the caravans bring things like titanium plate to the bus. Although I suppose the titanium plate is down. Yeah, that's still pretty far. Okay, we got titanium plate. It wants to come up to the bus. Actually, wants to come up to this end of the bus. We got lead. Same thing. Although the lead right now is going to here. So getting the leftover lead from here up to there isn't going to be too hard. Zinc isn't actually on the bus yet, but I suspect we'll soon have that one there. Tin's on the bus, so that needs to get up. Again, going about halfway, we need to get the other half. Probably remake duraluminum. I've only got one maker making duraluminum. That's aluminum plus copper. So we find a convenient place that's copper and aluminum near each other. We'll probably make a duraluminum place. Again, that probably will be far enough away from the bus that it would probably make sense to do like a caravan to drag it over there. In fact, there's aluminum, there's copper. We could put duraluminum in the middle. And that might actually make sense when we actually do the upgrade on the copper, is to divert some to do duraluminum with the copper there. So if we're keeping this one for supplying the base, then maybe this one becomes duraluminum with that one. Plans, future plans that may never come together. But yeah, we got things to improve the bus, but at the moment we're working with the to-do list, which reminds me I should be checking these things off the to-do list. Microcosm mine. Done. Incubator. well, not necessarily well fed by the bus, also done on the bus. For the next big build out, I think during the next stream, and I suppose probably the next highlight video at this point, we'll be working the bus data array, the bus Varick, the bus slaughterhouse, and the bus research center. I believe with those 4 done, we'll be in a position to properly size up SciPack 1. Got the recipe I want to run for SciPack 1, which is this massive recipe. The big things in it that are just going to take up a lot are Varick products and reproductive complexes. So 40 of those, 10 of those. Theory, we got these being built. Those are probably we got to get those going next part. At this point, I think if you remember the build review of the original hand-fed SciPack 1, due to just having the time and the resources and other things shut down, for example, we've torn out the old circuit processor, so I've sort of fed some of the unused stuff into the setup. At this point, I think we're only hand-feeding coal into the setup. So other than coming by and dropping coal off and picking up the SciPack 1s, it's mostly running on its own. So it's more of scale up rather than automate, although we are still automating the the refined coal into it. I think it's technically called coal. I'm referring to refined coal to discriminate against raw coal, which is what you refine it from. Yeah, we got 3 more things to put on the bus. No, 4 more things to put on the bus, and then, given enough time, we should be ready to scale SciPack 1 up, and then probably, I suspect with the ratio that I'm going to go for, we'll very rapidly blow through most of SciPack 1 stuff. In fact, I would not be surprised if I blow through SciPack 1, the rest of SciPack 1 stuff, way too fast, and get a massive to-do list again. We're working the to-do list down, but it's not going to take much to make this blow back up into a massive list again. If we get the tech speed going faster. And in fact, I feel like we are getting the tech speed going faster, even without doing that. Yeah, we got this tech done with the phytoplankton farm and fish farms on the list. But yeah, the run is going well. At least I think it's going well. Getting closer to thinking to want to actually do something with the turds. We'll see how that continues. So yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, I believe this is going to be the end of this highlight video. So you can probably expect there to be more highlight videos in the future. This will probably, when this highlight video is done, it'll probably get posted to the Reddit. So if you're watching this on Reddit and you watched all the way through, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We'll have more like this. Again, I think the goal is to get them to a little bit over 30 minutes long and then post them. So this one was over 4 days of streaming, so it's actually about 24 hours of streaming that's been condensed down into this highlight video. If you're watching this live or watching the unedited version, you can see what I think is the highlights of at least finished projects. Trying not to necessarily show people, unless people want to see the process of being built, in which case they can then watch the unedited version or the 5x version, which have been being posted as soon as they're uploaded and ready. Whereas the highlight video, obviously, I'm waiting until the video is decently sized, so about half an hour video. Let me go over the schedule. I'll delay the Twitch ad because we're about to bring the stream to a close, and the Twitch does not need another ad. I'll go over the schedule for the next couple days. Today was Factorio Pyanodons. It is a Tuesday. Tomorrow is going to be Shadow Empire. The day after that is going to be Solar Expanse. The day after that is going to be Old World. I think we're going to finish Old World. Depending on how quickly we get through Old World, we'll do Frostpunk 2 afterwards. Or if we do like a 3-parter, we'll do like Terraformers the Red Planet Waits again. Just as a way to finish up the stream. I want to at least give Frostpunk 2 half the stream. So if Old World takes 3+ parts, then we do something else. And then Frostpunk 2 will take 4 days from then. And then Saturday, we'll be back to Factorio Pyanodons. And then the cycle will repeat with Factorio Pyanodons as the lead, right? So it'll be Saturday Factorio Pyanodons, Sunday Shadow Empire, Monday Solar Expanse, Next Tuesday will probably be whatever replaces Old World, and then the Wednesday for next week should be Factorio as well. So that's the cycle. If you're watching this on if you're watching this on Reddit or whenever this gets posted live, that's the upcoming schedule. It should still hopefully be this week because of how I try to get these uploaded. I try to upload these as soon as I can. Obviously the edited version is going to take a little bit longer to get through, getting edited out, but I've got most of the editing actually done for that, except for day 10, which is the part we're just recording right now. Because of a day 10, it's actually been broken into two parts because I ran out of space in the middle. I had to stop the recording and do some shuffle, so sorry for those watching live on Twitch for the interruption. I suppose I could have kept the stream shorter and wouldn't have had that problem, but I underestimated how much space I had left on the computer and ran out probably about an hour earlier than I intended to stop. But this is where we're going to go put the stop in. So with that, if you're watching live on Twitch and you want to comment, respond to, or you've got anything you want to chat to me about, now's a good time to leave those chats. We're going to stream to a close. I'm going to put a quick save in here. And this is the end of stream save. Well, this is stream save 13. Some of the days I did a couple of first streams. I did two parts. So I saved at the beginning of the first part and then saved at the beginning at the end of the second part, sort of thing. Which is why we're on 13, even though it's day 10. A couple days I have multiple ones. This one I did a save midday, so this one's technically got 2 days, but we're still on 13, I suppose. But yeah, so with that, I'm going to wish everyone, especially anyone who's watched this late into the YouTube video, if you're not watching live on Twitch, the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part and/or stream, and bye for now.